Welcome to Mama C and Mama C. I'm Mama Callie.
And I'm Mama Cindy.
And today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Raelynn. Y'all say hello to Raelynn. This is actually my baby girl.
And I'm actually her daughter.
My niece. and we don't call her Raelynn. We call her by her name on her birth certificate.
My Bible given name, which is Rachel.
Which is Rachel. So we're going to call her Rachel today. Ray, thank you for being on our show.
Of course. I mean, I do know you guys.
We're so happy you're with us today. Listen, we just started this show, and basically the goal of this show is for us to just get to share our lives, talk about raising musical kids, talk about life, and just have fun, okay? So the first thing I'd like to ask you, and I want honest answers, even though I'm going to get embarrassed to get under the table. What do you think that your family gave to you? And I know your family's collective. It's not just me and Aunt Cindy. It's your dad. It's your whole family. What did we give you that helped you with your career now, helped you in setting direction? What are some of the things that you think we were able to give you?
First of all, I can think of a lot of things. Being in Nashville, it's kind of the music industry for anybody is a very cutthroat industry. It's very hard, and even though I've had so much success, thank you Jesus, there's been some roads and all that stuff. Right. But I think growing up in a really big family, not just having one mom, but having two moms and a dad and a stepmom and all these different things, our family is pretty unique, and having a lot of just going through some things, y'all have made me stronger when it comes to like rejection and any of that, like being able to handle those things. And I mean, like, it's just so funny because anytime I get, if somebody tells me something bad news, I'm like, all right, well, what's the next thing we're going to do? I just have really thick skin, and I'm so thankful that, when I would sing a bad note, they'd be like, that ain't right. Or my mom would be like, that was awful, and even though it made me upset and I cried, all those things made me the stronger artist and made me the person that I am today, because you have to be honest with your kids. And when I was younger, I didn't necessarily like y'all being really honest with me because it hurt my feelings. But now I'm thankful for honest parents that protected me and like showed me, the ropes when it comes to, because I didn't know what I was doing when I first started with music, and I was just figuring it out. And I'd say another thing is, the faith that our family has, and just always knowing that I've always seen God work in our family so many ways. Like when we weren't able to pay a bill, we were able to pay it. When we weren't able to, we didn't have, a building for this church, and then we got a building. Like, there was so much faith, and I watched y'all's faith grow. And so many times in my career, and times that I could have been upset, I've had extreme faith. And I've never let myself, and Mom can attest to this, like, there's times where Mom's more upset when something's not going the way she wants it to go than I am, because I know God's got everything under control, and you can't allow yourself to get upset, because then you're basically kind of telling God that you don't have faith in Him, and that's very when you get upset, it's like you're not trusting in the Lord, and that hurts God's heart, in my opinion. And so that's another thing that I would say.
You would say what you appreciate was the fact that, because we gave you a lot of encouragement.
Yes, a lot of encouragement.
But you like the fact, and we talked a little bit about the last episode, that it's very important that parents give your kids encouragement and speak life to them. But if you tell your kids you're great at everything and you never give them balance, you're really setting them up for failure in the real world. So we tried to be balanced. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
And,
absolutely. Tell them the truth.
Tell them the truth. Give them the encouragement they need. Give them the lessons. Give them the support. But also tell them the truth. I think that's really important. And then the faith. Faith is so important.
It is so important in anything that you do. Not music. If you're a freaking nurse, you have to have faith. Like any career path you have to have faith, because it doesn't matter where you're at in your career. Of course, you want to get to that next step, and you're always praying for God to give you more. And so you just have to live in that. And that's one thing that I've really lived in. Me and Josh, we've always been, God's always supernaturally taking care of us. And I have saved all that because I learned that from you and my dad and Aunt Cindy. Like, there was never a time where God never took care of us.
Right.
There's never a time where you can look and be like, we didn't
He
have
let us
some
down.
let us down. He never let us down. He's always been there for us in some kind of way.
Right.
And I've seen that happen again and again in my career and in my life with Josh.
That's so good. Another thing, I said this on the last episode, but this is really true. When I go with Ray to Nashville, I constantly have people of influence, people that she's working with, pull me aside and say, and I love you for this. This makes my heart happy. I'm not gonna cry.
It's okay.
I have people say she's the nicest human being, and I think that is so important.
Yeah, that's exactly
It's so
right,
important because
sister.
people are looking for. They won't listen. We need to give kindness.
Yes.
We need to give kindness.
You can't meet somebody wanting to get something out of them. I've seen this with y'all. I've seen you be around so many different kinds of people in the ministry, right? People that have a lot of, I guess people that go to their church or a lot of, we've been around all kinds in our family.
Right.
And one thing I could say about our family is we love the homeless person down the street just as much as we love the rich person. Okay,
Yes.
then I think that's been something for me to see with y'all, and having a church here in Baytown and how you treat everybody the same. I've brought that to Nashville, and I've built so many. I'm not there to get something. I really want to build a life connection with somebody and hear their heart. And sometimes people don't want to talk about music. Ask about somebody's kid. Ask about how are they doing?
Right, their family.
Because their family. Because you know what? At the end of the day, when you care about somebody's heart and what they're going through, that touches them more than talking about a song.
That's
or talking
exactly
about
right.
what you could. What writing session you can get, or what are you gonna do for me? Like when you're all about me, that just doesn't work for me as personally.
No.
And
It doesn't
I would rather,
really work for
anybody. It's like, and if you see I have such great examples. Like I think about Blake Shelton. Like he is that kind of person. And you can't meet anybody that does not love him for who he is, because some of them will tell you, he slept on my couch. He was the sweetest guy ever, and he's never changed. And I think that's important. You just have to love on people.
Yeah. And you like to laugh. I think it's important to keep a sense of humor.
Yeah, you trust me, you got to keep a sense of humor.
You got to keep a sense of humor. I mean,
and don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, we got to laugh. People like to be around people that make them laugh and make them relax and make them have fun. And so when you're raising your kids, I think it's important to develop their talents. But if we don't develop them as people, we have really, really messed up as a parent.
That's exactly right.
And it does take a village. You had a lot of people in the hand in raising you. You were not.
I did. I didn't have just, I always tell a story because it's so funny. I think I was in 5th or 6th grade, and this girl asked me, she's like, hey, do you want to come to our pool party? And I was like, I got to ask my Aunt Cindy, which is this, Aunt Cindy, Mama C. And they were like, your aunt? And I was like, yeah, my mama I know ain't gonna care, but I don't know if Aunt Cindy's gonna want me to be around her drinking. But it was just really funny. They were like, what?
Aunt Cindy was always the strict one. I was a little more liberal with letting them do things. Aunt Cindy was always the strict one. So they had to ask not only me, but they always had to.
Well, because at the time, me and Mom lived with Aunt Cindy, so it's not like I could slip out of the house and go to my friend's house, because they said, "But where you going? What you doing? Whose house you going to? Where do they live?" You know that she was gonna drive by and mean mug that. That was just Aunt Cindy, but I love it.
Rachel was
gonna be the same way with my kids.
For sure. Rachel was one of those kind of kids though that was a little bit sneaky. Remember the time that she lied to Uncle Todd?
She lied to Uncle Todd and told Uncle Todd that she had how many days off
guys,
of school?
I'm not trying to say I'm still living in this lie, but I'm telling you, another kid told me that we had an extra day off. And the key to this story is never trust your friends. Okay? But this kid told me that we had an extra day of school, and so I thought, and then I really didn't mean to lie. I still will defend myself in this, because I did not mean to lie.
I feel bad.
What she did is she told Uncle Todd that she had another holiday off than what we thought she had.
She got in a lot of trouble.
And then Uncle Todd ended up spanking her.
Because he drove by the school, and clearly the school was not empty. It was there.
She got in a lot of trouble from Uncle Todd.
But I remember I was more heartbroken, because if you know Uncle Todd never spanks.
No.
He's super lovey-dovey, and having Uncle Todd spank me broke my heart to a level of degree, because he's just so sweet.
That's so sad.
I was like, why did you have to do it? Why couldn't it be Aunt Cindy or Mom?
spanked you a few times.
One of the things, and you touched on this about having thick skin.
Yeah.
And really, it doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish in life. If you're an athlete or you're a singer or you're a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to college, you're going to have to develop some perseverance.
Right.
And parents can help children with the perseverance thing.
Right.
I mean, if a child's never made to clean their room or never made to do a chore or never made to work for anything, then they get in the real world and it is such
It's
shock,
overwhelming
shock
to them.
value.
That's exactly right.
Or if your parents tell you yes all the time and they don't, give you some criticism or truthful things, like, you're going to go into the real world, and if you've been spoiled your whole life and somebody tells you it's not going to happen this way and it happens this way, one thing I can say about these two is that they didn't raise entitled children. And I think that that's a big problem that we have now is like kids are expected to live. They think that life looks like something because like their parents gave them everything. And I will say we got everything as kids. We were so blessed. Anything we wanted, we got. But we had to work for it. And my mom always told us, like, we're blessed to have all these things. Not everybody has these things. And that's something that I truly commend you guys on.
Thank you, baby girl. I remember one time Ray decided Ray was always trying these different hairstyles. Mm-hmm. And she would, 1 week she wanted it this way, and the next week she wanted it
There was one time I literally looked like Kate Gosselin from Kate Plus 8.
Yeah, it was stuck up.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
And so she's an elementary kid, and she gets this spiky hairdo, and she's got thick Coke bottle glasses. She gets to
my
school.
ugly face, yeah.
She gets to school, and evidently some of the boys started making fun of her.
Call me boy.
And so she gets in the car that day when I picked her up from school, and she said, they made fun of me. Mama, they made fun of my hair today. And I said, well, baby, I was like traumatized. I said, baby, you want to go get it fixed different? Or do you want Mama to go talk to him? She goes, no, I'm wearing it like this. I think it's cool. And they're just stupid. I knew at that point that she was going to do good in life.
Right. Because she had thick skin.
Yeah, she knew what their opinion didn't change what she wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that is important, and we have to cultivate that. When you really want something, you can't be so driven
by people's opinions.
By people's opinions, yeah. You've got to just make up your mind.
And that's kept me really, I will say in Nashville, I'm very stickler on what I'll say and what I won't. And, the person that I want to be as an artist, and I have people around me and I think that's another thing, if you do have a kid that's creative, is the people that they have around them is just as important as anything, like, in my opinion. You have to have a team of people that know your kid's vision and what they want to be. If somebody's vision's this and somebody's vision that, then that ain't going to be the right thing. And I will say my team and all of us, they know what my vision is.
And they respect you as a person.
And they respect that. And then, because, they'll have things that come in, they're like, oh, Ray won't do that, or Ray would totally, let me talk to her about that. And it's about having people that know your vision and knows what you stand for and what you'll say and what you won't. And
let me ask you this. What are and just to share with our audience, what are 3 elements or 2 elements that you've learned about songwriting? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the moms listening and young people listening are writing songs, and what are a couple of things that you could teach them about songwriting that you've learned since you got to Nashville?
I think a big thing that I've learned is music is truly healing, and it doesn't have to be a worship song to be healing.
Right.
You can truly change somebody's life by telling your story. And I've gone through some things in my life that have made me the person that I am, and I've put those things to paper, and I've been able to really help a lot of people go through things that they're going through, that I've gone through the experiences that I've gone through and in my songwriting. And a big example of that is Love Triangle.
Sure.
I wrote that song about my mom and dad getting a divorce and feeling always stuck in the middle of them. And I had this woman call me, and she told me that, she was gonna leave her husband because they had, were trying to work things out and it wasn't working out. And he had an illness. I'm not gonna say what it was, just for her sake. But anyways, he had an illness and she couldn't handle it anymore. And so she was thinking about leaving him, and she had kids, and she heard me sing Love Triangle at this writer's round. And it's so funny how, I always think it's so funny how God uses you, because I remember that day, because I was exhausted that day. And all I was going to do was go into a round and sing one song, and I was leaving. That's all it was. And I was like, I'm going to just sing Love Triangle. It was a smaller room. It was more of an intimate setting. So I was like, this will be the perfect song. And it's so funny that I picked that song, because that was the song that changed her life. Because when she heard that song, she said, I decided in that moment that I was going to stick it out in my marriage and make it work.
Wow.
And Love Triangle isn't about technically Jesus, but God can use anything to move somebody's heart. And I think that's been a really cool thing is, I know I'm a country artist and I'm not in technically a more, conservative path with what I do, but I have seen songs that I write, even my party songs that I sing and write.
Sure.
They're all affecting people, and they see my heart, and they see that I'm a fun-loving person, and it makes them want, what do you have that I don't? And it's like, and I think that's been the coolest part about songwriting for me is seeing when you just truly tell your story, it's gonna affect somebody.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's been in your shoes.
They're gonna relate.
And also, I think my second advice is, when it comes to songwriting, I write down everything. Any idea I have, and a lot of them are stupid, by the way. But you have to write down all your stupid ideas before you're going to get a good one.
Right.
And it's about writing. And also, if you're in a writing session or you're writing with somebody, don't be afraid to say something like crazy. It takes, because me saying that color of the wall is gray might think, oh, well, what if we put blue in there? You never know what somebody's going to say might trigger something else for somebody to think.
One of the things you did say to me one time, and I thought this was really very important, worth repeating. You said when you first started writing, you would try to say too much.
Oh yeah, so I commend this to Judy Stakey. She was one of my first mentors in LA, and then when I moved to Nashville. And she said, I would always try to fit the whole story in a song. I'd be like, oh, they met, they had a baby, I was trying to fit everything in 3 minutes.
Right.
And she was like, Ray, how long is a movie? And I said, 2 hours. And she was like, okay, how long is a song? And I said, 3 minutes. And she was like, okay. She goes, how long, where do songs, how many songs are in a movie? And I was like, well, there's quite a bit of songs in movies. And she goes, but it's always in a moment of time, right? During, if there's a sad part in the movie, there's a sad song. If there's a happy part in the movie, there's a happy song.
Right.
She goes, a song isn't technically the full story, it's just a moment in time.
That's
and when
so
she
good.
said that to me, it wasn't the whole story, it was just a moment in time. It made so much sense to me. Because I was
it changes everything.
It changes everything because when you're writing a chorus, you're not trying to tell their whole life story or your whole life story. It's just a moment of your story. A moment, I'm not over here assaulting about my parents' divorce with Love Triangle every time, but that was a moment of my story. And I think it's a moment in time that you can capture and bottle up and give to people. And I think that that's what's so cool about your story is everybody has those moment in times, and you just got to trigger those and find those and write. I still write about things of my childhood that I've already processed and stuff, but there's something about writing about it because I really do believe that the Lord can use your story.
How do you feel like that songwriting has helped, as far as your songwriting goes, co-writing has helped you as a writer?
Oh, co-writing has helped me a lot. The only way you're going to get better is if you write with other people. You learn from other people. I've been co-writing now for 6 years, and I'm a better writer because of all the writers I've been around.
Right.
And I think
you feel like they've shaped you.
Oh, they really shaped me into I just see because I've seen writers that are bigger than me be careless and be say free things. I'm like, oh, they said something kind of weird. That don't even make sense. But hey, maybe think of this. And it's made me not be as scared in the room because they're just having fun. Right. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, I think you hit on something right there. Not being scared in the room. To just have fun. Relay your ideas.
Right.
Not every idea is incredible.
Yeah. And don't get your feelings hurt. If they don't receive your idea. Yeah. You keep throwing stuff out there.
Yeah. I remember I brought an idea to the table, and somebody completely told me that my idea was crap. Okay, and then I brought the idea to the table the next day, and I was like, I'll bring my crappy idea in again. Let's see if it works. And they thought it was the most genius idea ever. So and I always think, I'm like, it's so funny because it just wasn't God. It it was like God saved that idea. It wasn't supposed to be written with them.
That's right.
So that's what
One of the things with Leland, when he got Lion and the Lamb, the chorus, he hadn't written the verses yet, but he said he'd gotten with several different writers at different times and sang the chorus in hopes that they could write the verse, and they just dismissed it. Like they thought, well, let's move on to something else.
It didn't hit them.
It didn't hit them.
Yeah.
But he said then he gets with, I think it was Brent Brown and then Brian Johnson, and they
finished the song.
Immediately, Brenton got a verse just like that. Just boom, it just came.
Because it was, and there's something about fresh ears too, because it's
Right.
like when you're songwriting and you think of the way you think that the song should go,
Right.
because you're just one brain. But if you have another brain over there that's like, hey, well, this is what I
let's
hear.
see it in a whole different light.
And it's cool because it adds a different perspective that nobody's heard, and I think it makes it special.
The other thing that I like about A Moment in Time, which is you think about all the songs that you love, it's a moment in time, but they get to fill in the details of their story around the moment of time we
Yeah.
all identify.
Yeah,
Right.
that's so true.
Because
Right.
my story may be different, but my moment in time was just like your moment
Yeah.
in time.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So it allows people to fill it in with their own story. Ray, it's been so much fun having you on
I
our,
love you.
podcast
Mama
today.
C, Mama C.
So we're so excited y'all came on with us today, and Ray's home for the holidays, so we're gonna go spend some time with her. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next
We love
time.
you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.